I promise it's gonna really help you. So that's all trading is. So that's a trade idea. And we're at our desk. Okay guys, so as I mentioned earlier, we're going to go through all the little tidbits that you need as a brand new trader. If you just joined a Discord, if you've never traded before, if you're not sure what Apex is, we're gonna get you right. We're gonna get you started. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start recording my screen. We will waste no time and we will get into it. Write everything down that I mentioned here. This will be a great kind of list of things that you can use. So first and foremost are the analysis tools. So there's really two things that I use. The first is on my screen right now. This is Bookmap, and then the second is TradingView. So we'll start with Bookmap. I'll give a high-level explanation. I'm not gonna go super deep here. We do a lot of call-outs based off of Bookmap. Don't use it every day, but it is essentially a level 2 data tracker. So what it allows you to see is, gives you more insight into the actual auction right now. Depending on the price action, what is happening, you know, in the market at any given time is going to determine how useful this is. So it'll show you, they have an algorithm that will detect stops. It'll also show you icebergs. Icebergs are essentially large lot kind of hidden orders in the market by large players. We want to be able to track large players in the market because it can affect the auction. We also want to know when large amounts of stops are being ran. So right now we can see the market is live right now. It's Sunday, November 5th at 6:55. The market just opened, the futures market at least. And we see that 3 stops got ran here. Not a large amount, but if this was like 3,000, then we know that somebody just got smoked. Very often the market likes to run through stops. So if you see a stop run come through, the market will go through that. Then icebergs is kind of the opposite. If you see icebergs get filled, then we know that the market's going to come back the other way with some energy pretty soon. Sometimes. All very contextual. I hate when people are like, oh, you're saying it's going to do this. Everything is layers. Everything is layers. If there's one thing you can take away from this video, is that every single one of these is just a layer, and without all the other layers, the information is literally useless. And I mean that 100%, whether it's a support resistance level, whatever. But anyways, that's Bookmap. There is a subscription fee for Bookmap. You can get it by just going to bookmap.com. I'll bring up the website right now. It looks like this. So this is the Bookmap website. You log in, there's different features. The other thing that you'll want to get once you purchase Bookmap is the stop and iceberg tracker. So if I go to settings, configure add-ons, you can see here that I have the stops and iceberg on chart extension. And there's also this subchart, which I could add. I don't really use the subchart too often. I just use the on chart. So that is Bookmap. That's one thing. So let's move on. I'm just going to get rid of Bookmap and we're going to move on to the second thing that we use. And I totally forgot about my Bcam. Welcome Bcam. I should actually use this as a main cam, but whatever. So the second thing that we're going to talk about is TradingView. This is the best charting tool out there, and I'll say it again. TradingView is the best charting tool out there. Invest in it. You can use the charts in your broker if you want to. That's fine. Whether it's Ninja, whether it's Thinkorswim, interactive brokers, whatever the broker may be, they all have generally good charting. TradingView is the best general charting tool. I recommend it because they have a ton of indicators and flexibility. It's easy to click around, and honestly, you'll technically be a little bit slower with trade execution if you're looking at this and then executing elsewhere. But if you're a good trader, you shouldn't be racing the market anyways. You should have a trade thesis with a limit buy or sell to go long or short, ready to go already. One second, let me take a sip of coffee. And actually, I'm talking a lot. I'm gonna get some water. I need water in this video. TradingView is a general charting tool. Let's start with a blank chart. I'll walk through some of its components. We see I have a bunch of stuff on the chart, but we'll do a blank layout. So when you first come into TradingView, you're gonna have a screen that looks like something like this. Empty layout. It might start you on something like Apple. I'm not gonna do a full TradingView walkthrough. I'm gonna do a quick run of tips. This is your first time using TradingView. If you want to switch tickers, you do that just by typing. So if I want to go to NVIDIA, I just type NVDA. NVIDIA, I can hit enter. It's gonna go to the top result. When I go to ES Futures, I can just type in ES. It'll come into ES Futures. If I type ES again, you notice that there's a little arrow here. There's a drop down. There's a bunch of different tickers depending on the expiration of the contract. That's really important because if you chart on one version of ES, if you do a chart on this ticker, all of your indicators and charting and drawings are not going to show up on this one. That's pretty important to keep in mind. You want to make sure, keep track of the exact ticker that you're using. You can change time frames by typing in numbers. If I do 4, it'll do 4 minutes. If I do 7, it'll do 7 minutes. 15 minutes. If I do 1M, it'll do 1 month. If I do 1W, it'll do 1 week, etc. So that is TradingView. To add indicators, you go up here, hit the indicator button, and I'll show you some of the indicators that I use. So the indicators that you need to use at a minimum. If you want to follow along with how I trade, how Soul trades, and how we generally trade in our Discord, doesn't mean it's the one way to trade. This is just how we do it, guys. So don't come after me. This is how we do it. If you have another indicator that you use, I'll be the first to tell you, keep using it. Maybe tell me about it. Maybe I'll pick it up too. But what we use a lot are the session volume profile, really the volume profile in general. So you can use the session volume profile HD. This is going to give you the volume profile for the session and the visible range or the fixed ranged volume profile. Now, I just did let me actually just grab the visible range volume profile and the visible range volume profile. So this will show up on the right. I just did a video explaining the volume profile, so I'm not going to go into it. Just look for volume profile on my channel. It'll pop up. I break down exactly how to read this. I'm not going to explain it at all. I will just say that add these indicators to your chart. The other one is the VWAP. So let me re-add this back because actually that was the wrong VWAP indicator. We don't want that one. What we want is volume weighted average price. So just volume weighted average price. This will add in the VWAP, which is the blue line, and these green bands. So what about VWAP? I'm going to get rid of the session volume profile for now and these other indicators and talk about this. And we got a ways to go, guys, but I promise this is going to really help you. So VWAP stands for volume weighted average price. There is a look back period, but it basically is the averages of the price for some amount of time. Why is this useful? Well, the market is essentially always doing price discovery, and there is a mean. There's an average. There's an average of prices for some amount of time. It could be for the session. It could be for 2 sessions, a week, a month, whatever. In my volume profile video, we talk about the point of control, which is the price at which there was the most amount of transactions within some time period. So the VWAP is a different version of that question, but it's just straight math, just the average price. Then we have the standard deviation bands. So this is 1 standard deviation away from VWAP. You could do 2 standard deviations, 3. If we actually hit this icon here on the indicator on the top left, it'll open up the configuration. This is how you modify every indicator, by the way. Do that. We can see I can change. I could add the upper band 2, all right, lower band 2, upper band 3, lower band 3. I don't use the other bands. I just use the first band. Sometimes I take a peek at the second band, but these bands are really, really important. You will notice when trading, I'll say even equities too, but when trading ES futures and NQ futures, which is what we trade, you will notice that it respects these bands inside the session a lot on both the 5-minute and the 15-minute. So that is that. So we have VWAP, the session volume profile. I want to know the volume profile for my session as the session is occurring, and the visible range volume profile, which allows me to do a quick look, and whatever is visible is going to give me the volume profile within that range. So if I want to take a look going back a few months, I can go to the 1 day. Every single bar is a day now, and I can see the volume profile for this. If I want to adjust my volume profile really quickly, maybe add in a few more rows here, change my row size to 100, and I have a higher definition volume profile. In terms of indicators, that is all that I use. I don't use anything else in terms of indicators. Sometimes I'll plot RSI and things like that. We track sentiment and other things, option flow, trade addicts. There are different tools to track options flow, like cheddar flow and things like that. We use those tangentially. You can look at option flow and get insight into the actual flow of options just by looking at the volume on your broker, but it's not the most important thing, right, when you're first starting out. So now that we have these different layers applied, we have trading view, we have the volume profile, we have the session volume profile. How do we start trading? So the first thing that I want to do is get rid of this alert, which is here on this chart for some reason. I want to draw some support and resistance lines, and so this gets into how we actually start to make trades. Before we trade, we want to have a directional thesis. So when you come into our Discord, you'll hear us talking about here's where we think we're going to go today, the next 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, within the month, whatever. I want to draw some technicals on my chart and come up with a thesis. So that is a combination of charting. From charting, we come up with a directional thesis. That all starts before we trade, guys. So on the chart right now, I'm on the daily. The first thing that you're going to do as a new trader is you're going to come up with a higher time frame thesis. So this should be on the 1 day or higher. If you're making trades and you haven't looked at the daily chart, you're going to lose money. You might make some money first, but then you're going to lose that money, and then you're going to lose a little bit more. I promise you will. You need to have some inkling about where the ship is going. This is really, really important. If we have an idea, and I'll just draw some quick lines here. Let's just do a line like this, and let's do another line like this. So these are just some quick lines. This is technical analysis. All technical analysis is, by the way, is looking for patterns and shapes in the market. We're not going to break down all the technicals. There's a really good book called Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets that I read. It's a really good book for understanding why these shapes happen, give you some insight. Whether you believe everything or not doesn't matter, but it helps you have a narrative. Ultimately, when we're doing this process, we're trying to create a narrative for the market. That's all that we're doing. So I drew some lines and I go, oh, my thesis is we bounce. And I think we bounce into this node. Is that my actual thesis right now? No, but I'm just saying that for the sake of example. Maybe a better thesis is, I see we have a low value area here. They're what we call a low value node on the volume profile. This is a high value. See, it's a big jump, another high value, low value comparative to the rest of this time frame. So we have a low value node here at 42.53. So at 42.53, I'll just eyeball it in the middle. I'm gonna hit Alt H and I'm gonna draw a line. And I'll label this, I'll hit my text button and I'll say that this is the LVN on daily going pretty far back. I say pretty far back because this is the visible range volume profile and it's just based off of all the prices going back to, you know, about 22nd of June 2021. Cool. So maybe my thesis is that we come back to here. If I draw a Fibonacci, if I use my fib tool, which I can find by clicking up here on the top left, there's a few different things here. Do a fib retracement. I'll draw from the bottom to the top here. And we can see at the 0.5 fib, 42.5750 is actually right at this low volume node. So that's actually a pretty good trade thesis. Not just for the sake of this video, not a bad idea. 0.5 fib retracement would also be a retest of, I'll get rid of this price here. We can see that we bounced off of this previously, low value area. That is confluence. We're always looking for confluence in the market. We don't want to take a trade based off of one idea. We want to make a trade based off of multiple ideas. This is probably where new traders get mixed up a lot around, oh, I see 3 different signs that it's going to go to this price, right? But I don't know how good those are. Just trust it. Just take it. You have to build as a trader a data set of attempts going after these things. What you don't want to do is take a trade based off one idea. But if you have a ton of confluence in your idea, whatever it is, take the trade and see if it works out. You'll be amazed at how simple trading is based off of this. Just based off the fact that I had a line here, there's structure here, we tested it here, we tested it here, we tested it here, we tested it here. It's high probability we're going to test this again, and we have a low volume node. Tested it here. That's all trading is. We're looking for confluence. We're looking for structure in the market because the market is going to essentially repeat itself. There's fractals, all these things that happen in technical analysis. But as a new trader, you want to come in, you want to draw these levels, as many as you can. And so let's just add a little bit more structure. This is a major pivot on the daily. I like to draw lines on those, so I'll just do a line there. Not even going to think too much about it. 1-2 touches up here at 44.98. So I'll draw a line there by pressing Alt H. Another touch up here at 44.25. I'll do another price. We see that there is a little change of structure there. We have a high volume node here kind of in the middle of our structure. I might use my fib tool to see if there's any, you know, correlation there. Let's go from this pivot to this pivot with the fib. Nothing too crazy there, but I have some levels. Let's do some levels. I could do some levels below. Not too important with where we are in the market right now. We're pretty far away from this. Now I have some levels. I have some levels above and below the current price. These levels, you saw that I drew those pretty quickly, but these are where I'm going to take my trades. When I actually do these levels, guys, and when I share them, this is how quickly I do it. People will often be like, dude, your levels are spot on or whatever. It's way simpler than you think, guys. The market has structure. The market isn't necessarily going to reject for 100 points off of a level, but 9 times out of 10, and you know, I'm knocking on wood, it's going to respect your level to some degree and it will give you a trade. How we decide how long we hold that trade is based off of both what we see on the higher time frame. You know, my trade idea was again to come back to this 44, come to here. So if I think we're going to go from there, when we get to, say we get to this price here, maybe we run through this and we get to 44.27, I would take a short here. But in general, I'm looking for shorts around this price area. Cool. So we talked about Bookmap, we talked about TradingView, how to draw support and resistance levels, and we have a thesis. Let's actually talk about taking the trade itself though. So with futures, if you're new to futures, futures are very, very simple. They are a leveraged product and you just trade directionally, right? So all that means is if I go long, I think the price is going up. And if I go short, I think the price is going down. A futures contract has a point value. So ES futures are worth $50 a point, and NQ futures are worth $20 a point. Cool. So using this information, let's look at my trade idea and see how much money I could make if I was right. So let's say we go from this price here, we reject off of this top line, and we come down to what was this 50 fib at 44.4750. If I want to see how many points that is, I can just shift click, hold it, and we can see that it is, what, 140 points. So we do some quick math, open our calculator, do 140 times 50, $7,000. That seems way too high. 140 times, am I messing up my math here? Calculator, 50 times 100 is 5,000. Oh, yeah, I'm very tired, you guys. All right, so ignore my brain fart and me not trusting my calculator. I was thinking of minis, which we'll get to in a second, but yes. So 50 times 150 is 7,500. So it's a few points off, but that is the opportunity on my trade. It was 146 points. Maybe I put my stop up here. So a stop is where I lose, so that's 40 points. 50 times 40 is 2,000, right? 5 times 4 is 20. Add on the zeros, you get 2,000. So that's a trade idea. There is a trade tool, which will show you you could just do it like this, you know, and you could adjust accordingly. It'll show you, you know, what your risk and reward is. Amount 1,930. For some reason, I feel like my math is off. Am I crazy? 50 times 10 is 500. Yeah, that adds up. I'm just very tired and my brain is having brain fart. But play around with the different tools, guys. It is that simple when you get started. So that is ES. NQ is $20 a point. So let's go ahead and look at NQ. I can type in NQ. Boom. And very similar structure to ES, which is why we trade both of them. And from here, let's just assume we come back to the bottom of this shape. Actually, let's do some actual lines. So here's a line right here. We'll go from here to here. Pretty chilled channel. Let's say we come from here and a little time passes. We come down to the right. 1,268 points. So if we do this on the daily, 20 times 1,268. Ladies and gentlemen, it's because we're on the daily. For some reason, I thought we were on the shorter time frames. But we're doing 20 times 1,268. It's $25,360 of opportunity on the daily. So you could swing trade. More importantly though, if that is my thesis on the daily, the whole point of this as a new trader, if this is what I think is gonna happen over the next few days, I think we're gonna come down, and I look at my trades, my trade log, and I'm taking longs, even though I think we're going down, that makes no sense. So don't be a contrarian. So I was gonna go into a quick little side in this video, which is follow your higher time frame thesis, guys. Don't be a contrarian just for the sake of being a contrarian. There are pivots, right? Even in a major trend, there are always good pullbacks and pivots, whether up or down in either direction. But it's a lot easier. You'll make more money by trusting your higher time frame thesis and even eating drawdown as long as you're trading on your higher time frame thesis. For example, let's imagine that we think we're going short. But we pull back on the way. We come back up here. And then we come down and we pull back down like this. If you just go short with a small amount of risk, you're gonna make a lot more money than trying to catch any of the longs. You could just short, accept the drawdown, profit, accept the drawdown, profit, and you'll do very, very well. It's scary to have that much drawdown on larger positions. I totally get it, but that's why you need the trade thesis and the idea. That's gonna bring me to the next part of the video, which is journaling. It doesn't matter how you journal. You can use Excel, you can use Notion, whatever it is. I use Notion. I like handwriting my things, you know, to use a word extemporaneously, that is with verbosity, and just thinking it out. I do a lot of writing. It's tedious and annoying. The reason I do it like this is because I tried automating things, and I still do have some automation for my P&L. I use TradeZilla to look at do analysis on my risk reward and things like that. But writing things out long form will do you a lot better for your thought process. So for the sake of example, we're gonna use a notepad, and I'll show you how simple journaling is. So I'll do 11/6/2023 thesis. I think we go down to the bottom of this channel that I drew, looking for shorts. If we gap down on open, I'll look to go short on a pullback. That's it. So all my trades should fit what I think is gonna happen on this thesis. So maybe I zoom in from the daily and I go to the 15-minute because I wanna take a closer look. So we can see here, there's much more volatility on the 15-minute, but in general, I wanna go short. I wanna go short. So let's say we do this like this, and I'm like, dang, I missed my opportunity to go short, but I'll wait for a pullback and I'll go short right here, and then we continue doing, you know, whatever. It's that simple. That's the trade plan. I miss the opportunity to go short, which is gonna happen to you all the time, but the market doesn't move in a straight line. A pullback will occur and you just get in on the pullback. Something else that'll happen to you as a new trader is you won't get the best price on the pullback. Maybe you get in on this pullback right here. You still got a better price. So you're gonna have this much drawdown, right, in the red, but then as soon as the price comes back, you're green, and then you're super green, you're super duper green based off your higher time frame thesis. And because the price you're looking for is way down here, you'll be omega green. When you really zoom out, see that the price is going way down here. This little time where you are red doesn't matter. And that is why you have to have a higher time frame thesis. Because if you don't, you know, your little few points of red when you first get into your position, which is gonna happen all the time, probably every trade you get into, you're gonna have a little bit of red volatility and you're gonna be sweating. You need to have that higher time frame thesis. So that's that. The other thing that you need to understand as a trader is margin requirements. So let's just look, we'll just use Google and we'll just do NinjaTrader futures margin requirements. Margin positions, cool. Let's see, is it on this website somewhere? View initial margins, here we go. So don't be scared by this, it's just a spreadsheet. We trade ES, so let's just look for ES, E-mini S&P 500, $500 per contract, and then your overnight margin is 12,320, which is the standard margin. For NQ, it's much higher. NQ is 1,000, but I'll show it to you. NQ, E-mini, NASDAQ 100, 1,000, and then 18,480 per contract. That means that for every one contract, if you go long one contract of NQ, you need $1,000 in your account. To go long two contracts, you need $2,000. As the market changes, your P&L is going to adjust by $20 because we're talking about NQ. But just to get into the position, that's what you need. That's what margin is. Understand and do research on margin requirements. It's different for everything. I'm not going to go through the list. You have to do the homework and understand it. It's crazy to lose money because you don't understand margin. You're basically playing with fire. So understand your margin requirements. I'm not going to feel bad for you if you make dumb mistakes. Actually, I don't even feel bad for anyone when they make dumb mistakes. I get it. We all make dumb mistakes, but I'm not going to feel bad for you. So do your research with margin. There are fees. There are real world costs with going against your margin requirements. Ask me how I know. So that is margin. Which broker should you use? I use NinjaTrader for my personal account and for all my Apex accounts. There's also Trade-Evate, interactive brokers. In my opinion, as a new trader, I like things like NinjaTrader. It's very simple to use. I was gonna break it down in this video, but I'm not. You need to spend an hour or 2 hours outside of market hours learning every single button, how to enter positions, exit positions, set up bracket orders, learn what bracket orders are, right? So make a quick list of things you need to do. Learn your broker platform, figure out how to exit all positions, learn margin requirements, fees, charting, bracket orders, figure all that out for your broker. It's different for every single broker. It's not complicated, but these are all the things you need to do. Especially figuring out how to exit all your positions is super duper important. You're gonna have times where wow, my camera just died. Hold on, it's actually, all right, well, my camera's overheating, but there are gonna be times where you need to exit all positions, so figure that out. We're gonna end this video because I don't wanna deal with switching over audio very quickly. That honestly is most of the things though, guys. So learn your broker, learn TradingView, learn Bookmap, volume profile, the volume weighted average price, and draw support and resistance levels, have a higher time frame plan, and you're good to go. That's all there really is to it. In any case, my name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. You should too. Thank you for popping by my channel. Subscribe. If you want to sign up for Apex, use my affiliate link. They still have 90% off. If they don't have a sale right now, wait for the next one. These accounts are best purchased on sale, or use whatever broker. All of this applies to your personal account. I literally trade my personal account every single day in addition to Apex as well. But that is it. Peace.